How's it going, guys? Stego from SGN back with another Mortal Kombat video, and this is going to be my top 5 favorite villains in Mortal Kombat history. And, of course, we already know who my favorite one is if you've seen some of my past videos, but I think that a few of the other ones might surprise you a little bit. Starting off with number 5, it is Kintaro. Now, everybody loves Goro, okay? He was the first sub-boss. He was the first character to look so unique. Like, if you look at the Mortal Kombat 1's roster, whether it's playable or non-playable, all the characters, except for maybe Shang Tsung, they look at least relatively human, except for Goro. Goro has 4 arms, he's huge, he's half man, half dragon somehow, and just everything about him is pretty unique. His moveset was unique, he was just this completely different thing to everything else you were seeing in that game. So everybody loved him, especially when the Mortal Kombat movie came out, because the interactions between him and Johnny Cage were so funny. Alright, that was comedic gold right there. So the fact that they had such a good relationship, they really made both of those guys a lot more popular than they were just because of MK1. So going forward, everybody seemed to love Goro. And, of course, I do love Goro. But Kintaro, the second Shao Kahn introduced to the series, in my opinion, is just cooler in every single way. He's not as funny because of he didn't have a role in Mortal Kombat in the movie, so he doesn't have that comedic interaction. But I think he looks cooler than Goro. He's more powerful than Goro. Of course, he's not the Prince of Shao Kahns, but he is still, a Shao Kahn who is even more powerful because he's not Shang Tsung's guard. He is Shao Kahn. And Shao Kahn, of course, we all know, Shao Kahn is one of, if not the most powerful villain in Mortal Kombat. Definitely not the most powerful because Onaga and Blaze might just have him beaten. But still, he is one of those top guys. And Shao Kahn is more powerful than Shang Tsung. So Shang Tsung's guards aren't going to be as powerful as Shao Kahn's. So for Kintaro to be so important to Shao Kahn, that shows how powerful he is. So Kintaro's stronger. I think he looks cooler. I like his moves a lot more. So just overall, I think that Kintaro is a better character. Of course, he doesn't have the development that Goro does. Because even though Goro doesn't have a ton of story, like he has in the first one, being the Mortal Kombat champion for so long, having defeated the Great Kung Lao, he has a lot of story in the first game. In Mortal Kombat 4, he has some story as well. And going forward, he kind of had some. But ever since then, he hasn't really had a whole lot. From Mortal Kombat 4, he really hasn't developed at all. And it looks like he might be having a bit more development. But still, I think that Kintaro, if he could get more development, if he could become a bit more of a mainstay in the series, maybe get his chance to really have his own, I'm not going to say a roster slot, but if he could have something to do with the story, maybe be like a pre-order bonus or maybe being a DLC character or something like that, since they have been adding these big, bulking, powerful characters, it would be pretty cool. And I think that he is definitely a very, very badass villain and doesn't get as much respect as he probably should. Number 4, I'm going to put down Quan Chi. Now listen, a lot of people don't like Quan Chi because he was kind of iffy in Mortal Kombat X, but I don't think that's really a matter of Quan Chi not being cool. Like, if you look at what he does, everything that he does is about manipulation. Alright, he's a master manipulator. He absolutely turned Scorpion into this evil being set out on vengeance for something that wasn't even Sub-Zero's fault. So, if you really look at it, a lot of the coolest storylines in the game are directly related to Quan Chi. So in my opinion, between his really bizarre look that a lot of people don't like, but I actually do like, and he was there before Kratos. So Kratos kind of copied him. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Kratos copied Quan Chi. It wasn't the opposite. So he has that interesting look that I personally like. You might not like it, but I do. So I think that is a positive. I like his moveset. I really love the green skulls that he fires out. I think that's one of the coolest, fireballs, whatever you want to call it, the coolest projectile moves in Mortal Kombat history. I think it's really cool. I love the coloring of it, and I love I don't know, there's something about his personality, the way that they portray him, that's really cool. Of course, in Mortal Kombat mythology, Sub-Zero, he was hilarious. The way that he was acted by, I think it was Richard DeVizio, it was just so damn funny. It was so hilarious. It was just so over the top. And really, from then on, I've always loved him. And I think, like I said, his moveset's cool. His storyline is cool. And I do like the fact that they finally finished him off with Scorpion. It's a big issue in Mortal Kombat where a lot of times these guys that don't really have any more meaning in the story, or they just kind of keep on going and being in there until they eventually do come back to have some kind of a reason, but not really anything that's going to be long term. And I like the fact that Scorpion did finally get his revenge. Alright, he killed Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat 9, and in the old timeline as well. Of course, realized that that was a mistake because it wasn't Sub-Zero's fault. It was literally Quan Chi confusing him. And now he finally got his revenge on Quan Chi. I think that's a great way to finish off the storyline between Scorpion and Quan Chi and possibly build up for something different because Scorpion, of course, now having Hanzo Hazashi as an actual human version of him as well. I think the fact that Quan Chi is now gone, it gives them an opportunity to really expand on Scorpion and show a different side of him that they did start to show in MKX. And regardless, Quan Chi, really badass character. We might not ever see him again unless like he gets revived somehow because it is Mortal Kombat. But like I said, the way that they finished it off, it's a great way to send away one of the coolest villains of all time in Mortal Kombat. Number 3, another sorcerer, Shang Tsung. And really, like Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, a lot of people think they're similar, but they're actually really different. They're almost completely different, actually. Shang Tsung in a lot of ways is a bit more powerful, I would say. Of course, they're for different reasons. But I think that the biggest thing about Shang Tsung is, of course, he can transform into different people. He can absorb their souls and actually, get stronger by it, whereas Quan Chi doesn't tend to do that as much. I just think that overall Shang Tsung, and a lot of this does actually have to do with the movie as well. I can't remember the actor's name. For some reason, I'm having a blank. He's a great actor, the guy who played him in not just in Mortal Kombat the movie, but also in the new series that they did. Of course, he was only there for like a few minutes in the little internet series. But regardless, when you think of Shang Tsung, he is pretty much the best person to ever portray the character. And really, that gave the character a lot more time than people had seen him in the games, because obviously that was back then when there were no cutscenes. So you were only getting story based on text and stuff like that. So you couldn't really see how much personality they had. And he did a phenomenal job of really portraying just how evil, how manipulative, how dark Shang Tsung is. And in my opinion, that makes him one of the best portrayals of a character, especially in a video game movie. Like he did a great job in that thing. Also, shout out to him and Johnny Tsunami as well. By the way, Shang Tsung move forward. Like I said, very similar to Quan Chi. I love his moveset. I love his fireballs. I love in Mortal Kombat 1 when he was the old Shang Tsung, the way he could have the multiple fireballs. It was just so confusing to fight. Once you figure out how to beat him, he was a bit easier. But I love the fact that he transforms into different characters. It makes it very difficult to know exactly what he's going to do. It makes him a lot more difficult to read. And overall, I just think it's a really badass mechanic there. And the fact that they were able to at least make it possible for him to transform in Mortal Kombat 9, that was a major feature in that game. It was really awesome. Like, people thought it was pretty much impossible. And going forward, it's probably going to be more possible. So if he does come back in MK11, there's possibly a chance of him being able to transform easier. It's going to be maybe cooler. And who knows what they could possibly do with that going forward. But regardless, Shang Tsung, from his moveset, his costumes over the years have gotten worse and worse. I have to say, this red robes with the green snakes, that kind of sucks. Like the original Shang Tsung, being old and stuff like that, that was really badass. And then he had that genie outfit in Mortal Kombat 3, which kind of sucked. Mortal Kombat 2, he wasn't playable, but still, or was he? Anyway, he was awesome. Like, if his costume originally was cool, going forward, his costume kind of sucked, but the way that he is in the story, the way that he fights, everything about him is just really badass. And in my opinion, he absolutely deserves a spot on the podium for my top 5 favorite villains. Number 2 is Onaga. And this one's going to be a bit controversial because a lot of times I see people saying that Onaga sucks. Onaga, according to other people, is the coolest one. And I think that realistically, it depends on what era of Mortal Kombat you were most familiar with. For example, if you're one of the original, Mortal Kombat players from the 90s, early 90s, something like that, then you are going to have a lot of love for Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, Kintaro, etc. You are going to love those characters. But if you're from my age bracket, where I'm from 1994, so when the original games were out, I was either not born yet or small, moving all the way up to, Mortal Kombat 4, I was little. So I didn't have the appreciation for the characters, appreciation for the story, what was going on. And I really started to develop that with Mortal Kombat Deception in particular and Mortal Kombat Armageddon. And yet, I still have, because I did play a lot of Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2 when I was a little kid, because like I said in a previous video, that was literally the only way that my parents could get me to eat, was playing Mortal Kombat. So I do have that love for the games, that nostalgia factor from being a fan of Mortal Kombat since I was a little kid. So I'm kind of in the middle. So I do love the original characters, original villains, and I do also love Onaga. And like I said, there's a lot of people that don't think that's the case, but that's just your opinion. This is just my opinion. And in my opinion, Onaga is cool because of the fact that they brought him back in a way that was so awesome. Like, if you play Mortal Kombat Deception, whether you've seen it 100 times or you've never seen it before in your life, that intro is going to get you excited to play the game. The Deadly Alliance, reviving the Dragon King's dead army, reviving them and having this massive army, and all of a sudden, Raiden's trying to fight them. He's trying to stop them from taking over the realms. And all of a sudden, in the midst of the fighting, when Raiden's pretty much defeated, out comes the Dragon King. That means Raiden, Quan Chi, and Shang Tsung have no choice but to unite and attack them, and go after Onaga as a trio, the most unlikely alliance of all time in Mortal Kombat, united on one front to take on Onaga, and it still isn't enough. Raiden basically kills himself, Quan Chi, and Shang Tsung just to try to defeat him, and it isn't even enough. That's just so fucking badass. That shows how damn powerful Onaga is. And that really was, in my opinion, one of the coolest introductions to any character in Mortal Kombat history. And that's why, from that moment on, I was a fan of Onaga. Then, of course, in Conquest mode, the best story mode in Mortal Kombat history, in my opinion. And when I first played Deception, I'm not going to lie, I was too young, too naive to really understand what was happening, that Damaji was, in fact, Onaga. So when it happened, the twist actually hit me. I was like, what the hell? I was actually shocked by that. Of course, going forward, it's pretty much obvious from about a quarter of the way done to the game that it is in fact Onaga, being, trying to get you to get the Kamidogas and stuff like that. But still, it hit me in a way that I really appreciated. I thought it was really awesome. And I have to say one more thing. He has one of the most, no, I'm going to say it. He has the most unique boss battle in Mortal Kombat history, because if you fight him head on, you're going to get destroyed. He has just crazy powerful moves. He can grab you, can fly up in the air, drop you on the ground. He has extremely powerful moves. But if you go and you destroy the Kamidogus around the arena, you make him more and more weak, which is like incredibly genius by another Midway at the time. Not just making him an awesome character, extremely powerful, but you can actually make the boss battle interactable in a way that's not just beating his ass. You actually have to find a way to weaken him out, and once you figure it out, it becomes a lot easier. It's not like super easy, but it becomes a lot easier, and it makes it really cool because it's something that you would think the Kamidogas are just kind of there and they're not interactable, they're not destroyable. But once you realize it, it just opens up the whole realm of possibilities. And in my opinion, it'd be really cool if they could find a way to introduce that into the future games. But of course, I think that was very unique to the fact that Onaga needed the Kamidogus to come back and under the form of the Dragon King. So that's very unique to Onaga, but still, just a great boss battle and great character, in my opinion. Of course, you might not disagree. You might not agree with that, but it doesn't matter. It's just my opinion. Number one, and of course, everybody's going to guess it, it is Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn, he's not as powerful as Onaga. He's not as powerful as Blaze, I guess, because Blaze is he's the end of the universe, basically. But at the same time, he's extremely powerful. He killed off Onaga, not through pure strength, but just being an absolute piece of shit, basically, by poisoning his master, his general. No, actually, Shao Kahn was his general. He was his commander, his king, essentially. He killed him off by poisoning him, became the king of all those realms. He was the great conqueror. He wasn't a good king, but he was a great conqueror. Conquered just about everything, except for, I guess, Earthrealm at this point. And overall, the way that they had him, the taunting, the moveset, it was just such a badass. And his voice acting, it was just phenomenal. Steve Ritchie did a great job of that. It was just so damn cool. It was just so fun to play. Whether you loved to fight him, because of course he was beating the hell out of you, he was so hard to beat. Once you figured him out, he was relatively easy. You couldn't beat him like the same way every single time, because it was a matter of getting lucky, getting him in the right spot and things like that. But once you figure out how to beat him, he wasn't easy, but he was very much beatable. And the fact that he was taunting you so much before actually figuring out how to beat him, in my opinion, that's just so fucking cool. I love that type of stuff. I've said it in a previous video. I love taunting, whether it be in sports, whether it be in gaming, whatever it is. If somebody's taunting and roasting somebody else, I'm going to find them extremely entertaining. I might not like them, I might not love them, but I might not even hate them, but I am going to find them extremely entertaining. And really, that is probably the reason I have Shao Kahn so high up here. And I do think they're probably going to come back in Mortal Kombat 11 as a pre-order character. And I very much look forward to seeing, if they do that, to seeing what they do with him. How powerful is he going to be compared to the rest of the characters? And I don't know, is he going to be tournament legal and stuff like that? Because realistically, Goro, he was defeated, I'm not going to say easily, but he was defeated by Liu Kang. So he was never like a main boss. But what are they going to do when an actual boss character comes in there and is on the main roster? What's that going to play like? Is he going to be better than the general characters? Is he only going to be beatable by Liu Kang, Raiden, etc.? Like the elite of the elite, according to the story. Hard to tell. But I'm assuming that's not going to be the case. If he is in the game, Much like Gory's going to be tournament legal and everything. But regardless, Shao Kahn #1. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below if you agree with me and who are your top 5 favorite villains in Mortal Kombat history. What do you think? Are there any ones that I put in there that you think don't even deserve to be even close to the list? Or what? Just let me know all those things in the comment section down below. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. That way you're one click away from watching the video every time it comes out. You'll be notified and you'll be extremely close to watching it. And once again, thank you so much to everybody who's subscribing to my videos, who's been liking, who's been interacting with me, and really helping me make this channel grow. It's growing very slowly. But the fact that it's growing, it's very motivating, and thank you so much to every single one of you guys. Shout out to every single one of my subscribers, and I will see you guys in the next video.